morning. Funny enough, I was gonna actually brush my hair this morning. The last couple of videos I've done, I just kind of didn't really show my face, and I was like, man, I really need to put myself together. But let's be honest, I don't really put myself together. So I was like, I'm just gonna keep it real here. So baseball cap, I had to drop one of my boys off at baseball camp this morning. Quite a few boys get together at the spot and up the street, and he really enjoys it. So that's one of the things he really looks forward to during the summer. And it gives me a little break from one of the three. So there's a couple things I wanted to highlight today in this video, because I know that there's a lot of people that are kind of jumping into the world of homeschooling unexpectedly. I've had like 9 years, and I'd say probably the last 4 I've been confident enough in my abilities and just our family in general. And that's taken a long time. So a lot of you are just being thrown into this. So I thought, these videos may or may not help you, just coming from somebody that you know. So the things I'm going to touch on today are socialization, one of the biggest questions that a homeschooler ever gets asked. I used to ask this question even before I started homeschooling. We're going to talk a little bit about traditions, life skills, and character. Socialization. If I had a penny for every time people asked how my kids get socialized. My children have never been to school. I have 8th grade coming to 6th grade and also a 2nd grader, none of which are socially awkward, as a lot of people would assume. Homeschoolers have different ways to socialize, okay? So I guess, because maybe we were raised in the school system, we thought, well, you just go to school and you hang out with your friends. Well, it's just a different mindset, okay? Homeschoolers have sports. My boys have a lot of friends from sports. We have co-ops, we have clubs, we go to different events, okay? Eventually you do meet friends. You do get together with friends, okay? And actually it does become like an overboard thing. Like I kind of had to scale back quite a bit one year because we were never home to homeschool. So another piece of advice is, if there's something that you want for your children's social life or just to be around other kids and you can't find the right fit, make it happen. There's a bunch of moms that probably, I say moms and dads, families who want the same thing for their children out there. And it takes one person to just jump in and say, you know what, I think I'm gonna be the person to do that. So, for instance, I had some friends that we all kind of tend to like the nature study aspect. So I kind of gradually started a little nature study co-op. And it's just kind of kept a bunch of people staying in contact through the years. It started out super official, and we did a bunch of lessons together, and we still get together and do hikes. It might be a little less official as the kids get older, but we still get together. My kids still have those relationships. So another thing, a friend of mine started a robotics team one year, and so it was something she was seeking, and she made it happen. And of course, people came. We actually had a waiting list at one point. So if there's something that you want for your family, make it happen if you can't find something out there to fit your family. I'm going to talk a little bit about like easing into homeschooling. A lot of people think that, you look at the date and you say, okay, today's the day that we start. We're going to start our school that day. It's 9 o'clock, time to start. Eventually, you become comfortable to know that that's not actually how it works for a lot of people. Now, a lot of people like that schedule. I have learned that I don't necessarily like that. I do like organization, I do like planning, but I do like flexibility, and I like my kids to have kind of a say-so on what they're going to do. So my advice would be to ease into this transition. Start with the basics. Read every day. Do math as often as you can. Tackle some of your language arts. That's it. Okay, as time goes on, and you learn how to incorporate those things smoothly, then you can sprinkle in your science here and there, okay? Maybe subscribe to a monthly science kit for your kids, or a cooking kit. Find a really great history book once you're comfortable with your normal subjects. I'm sure I could get into a lot of other details on that, but I'll move into the next topic that I really wanted to discuss, which is traditions. Family traditions will become a huge part of your homeschool, at least it has for me. I actually rely on things that my family does organically to provide more impact to my children than the actual, stacks of curriculum that we use. Things like just being together as a family. Last night we read, and I don't even know where the book is, we read a chapter together of Animal Farm at dinner while we ate spaghetti. Okay, so that was technically school, but my kids didn't really see it as school because we were just sitting down having dinner. A book basket, or this is kind of just like more of a fun kind of afternoon family time. We will just, maybe be at a stopping point. My kids could get bored with their subjects and they'll be like, I really want to go outside and play. Okay, go outside and play. Maybe when you come in, we'll tackle some of the stuff that's in our book basket. That doesn't mean we're going to do all of it. There's just a variety of things. Like my kids like the Magic 8 Ball to ask questions. We have little games. This is like a dice game. We do vocabulary study. That is something that we usually do every time we do our little family study together. So we're going to tackle that just about every day. And then I kind of let the kids just choose what they want to do. This is like a history of art card game. This is like a Presidents of the United States game. We have Blink. It's just, kind of like a coordination game. We have the Case for Christ for kids, which we'll be reading together. And you just these are like some questions, kind of like a trivia game. These are the presidents. We kind of learned the order of the presidents together, just casually. This doesn't mean we're doing this all every day. This is just stuff we keep in here to just slowly work towards. Okay, you could read 1 chapter a month, or you could read 4 chapters a week. Just mark where you are and pick up where you ended the time before, and just keep it as a habit. It's something that you can do every day, and you can switch out this stuff to kind of keep it fun for your kids. Okay, so this kind of gives you an idea of what ways to sneak in education, right? And it's something that doesn't necessarily feel like, okay, it's time to sit down with our worksheet right now. Okay, create a Netflix family account. That is a big one. At the beginning of the school year, I kind of look at the topics that we're going to be studying. Like, for instance, this year we're doing the human body and modern history for one of my kids and government for the other. So I go through at the beginning of the year and I save different shows that I find on Netflix that might pertain to those subjects. Okay, and I keep those in a folder specifically for homeschool. So if we catch a rainy day, nobody's motivated to do anything, I can say, oh, you know what? There was that show that we saved on Netflix. Go ahead and pull it up. Let's watch it. So that one's a really organic way that you can add in education for your family. Games on the coffee table. That's a big one for me. Or books. My kids aren't super avid readers, but I do require them to read quite a bit, but they're game kids. Like, they love to play like board games. We keep Yahtzee on the table at all times. So sometimes if, my husband comes home, he can play with them. That's a math game. Yam Slam, that's another one we keep on the coffee table. So just like having a stack of board games out all the time to see in your face. So your kids are like, you know what, I'm bored. All right, well, let's play that game. Now, let's talk about life skills. That, for me, is one of the biggest things that I like to incorporate into our life, into our kids' education, because I think it doesn't matter how much you know from a book, you need to know what you need to know to get through life. And a lot of people think that because your children aren't going to a school setting every day, they're not getting prepared for life. But that is a huge misconception. Take your kids with you to the grocery store. Show them how to make a grocery list. Show them how to budget with how much money you have to spend that week for food. Make them find recipes. Have them search for coupons. Okay? Have them make their own dentist appointment. Having phone etiquette or the ability to email, that's an awesome skill to have, and why not work on it while they're young, okay? So they can perfect it by the time they get to college. Make sure they do chores. That is another thing. Like, mowing is PE, guys. That's 2 in 1 for you. If your kids know how to do chores, if they know how to take care of pets, if they know how to keep up a lawn, if they know how to help manicure a bush, those things they're gonna take that all through their life. So that's another big thing. Character. That probably tops the list too. Really, all these things I'm discussing top the list. being with their siblings, encouraging children to help each other, sibling relationships, mom and dad relationships, family relationships, it's so important. Encourage your children to have quality friendships within each other. Encourage your children to have quality friendships within their friends. Just because your children might not have 30 children that they sit with in a classroom every day doesn't mean that they can't have a good handful of quality friendships. Okay, it's kind of like a quality over quantity thing. Encourage your children to talk to you about friendships, about how they feel, about when they, come into a conflict with a friend. Okay, work with your children through these things. These are the skills they really are going to need in life. Have them make friends with neighbors. Have them do nice things for neighbors, okay? Have them bring up a garbage can for an old neighbor that might, need their help. Just offer help to people. Have them push back a shopping cart for someone at the grocery store. Encourage them to have a relationship with God. And if you're not a believer, encourage them to have a relationship with themselves and with their families, and to pray or to meditate, okay? Having the ability to tackle being with yourself and being with your family, that's kind of priceless. So these are just a few things that I've come up with, which are kind of like my top, homeschool things and ways to incorporate them. And I know a lot of you are like, well, let's just jump into like the core subjects. Show me what you do. I'm gonna do some more videos on those. But this was just a first shot at it, so we'll see how it turns out. I hope this was helpful.